Okay, looks like we have a few, and so will I not see the participants? Oh, I guess I do see them here. Okay. Who do we have? CC in Silicon Valley. Introduce yourself after you take a swig of water.
I'm Cece from Silicon Valley.
Very nice. What part of Silicon Valley are you in? What city?
Santa Clara County, in Milpitas.
Okay, very nice. I know that area. I had built two real estate offices down there, one in Cupertino and one in Palo Alto,
Okay.
pretty close to you.
Are you here too, in this area?
I'm not now. I grew up in Sacramento, just east of you there, northeast, and I built several offices in the Sacramento metro area. And I'm actually talking to you guys today from Hawaii, but
From Hawaii. Well,
yeah, yes. I know my office decor does not look like that, but yes, I'm in Oahu and heading back to Oregon, Hood River, Oregon, actually.
so you moved from California to Oregon.
That's right.
Do you like it?
I do. Yes, I do. Yeah. I'm east of Portland enough that I'm out of that whole scene. And
Okay.
yeah, the town that I'm in is beautiful. It has views of Mount Hood and Mount Adams and so forth. Matthew, it looks like you're in Ventura. That's Southern
I
Cal.
I am, yeah, down here by the beach, which I love.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And that's not your beach house by chance, is it?
No, no, it's not. I wish it was,
That's
but
it.
no.
That's more of the affirmation or dream board.
It's a luxury thing that I have for my luck because I'm part of EXP Luxury, so I like to have that branding while I'm doing some Zooms and stuff. But excuse my tank top. I just jumped on thinking I got the email saying we're on the call for today. I go, really? So I logged on. I could have probably put a button-up shirt, so I apologize.
No, it's great. I had a family health issue, so I'm not going to EXPCon this year. And so Brent said, well, Don, there are a lot of people that aren't able to make it for whatever reason, like yourself. And I want to just be consistent and make sure that he's delivering value every single week. And so I think I'll share a valuable message with you guys about attraction. Um, can you tell me, Matthew, what your goals are for attraction?
I kind of got delayed, Don. I'd actually met you once at the first EXPCon I ever went to, which is only, I guess, 3 years ago. I joined EXP 3 years ago.
Okay.
And you guys had a big meeting up in Brent's big suite room, and you did some talking. And I brought your name up many times before. But so my goal is I kind of got delayed on it. I've got about 9 people under me, and so one happens to be one of my sons, and then I joined under one of my sons. So
Okay.
they're with DXP. So my goal, honestly, Don, is I'm a retired social worker, but I stopped that job 20 years ago, and then I've been in
Yeah.
real estate for 20 years. So I get a small pension from that social work job, and it's not a lot, but it's like $2,000. And I tell my kids, for all the work that I did as a social worker, I get 2,000 a month. I could be with EXP already getting more than that for a couple of years. I've looked on passive income and revenue share, right? So
100%.
yeah, so I look at that and I think of all that, all those efforts, and I had zero time freedom, right? When you have a full-time job like that. So my goal then, to answer your question, is just to have enough revenue share where I could live how I want to live. I'm 62. I'd like to live, hopefully I live to be 92 at least. So
Yeah.
just, have a good life,
What's that
have
number though? What's the number?
I would like, I know it's not big, but I would, to me, 25,000 a month would be perfect.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because the market is a little tougher now, by the way, we need a few more agents than we did a few years ago in order to reach that 25K a month. Today, you'd probably need somewhere between 850 and 1,000 agents to get 25 average per month. Okay. So in one of the things that I want to encourage each and every one of you guys to do, and before I launch in, I'll just give you guys a little bit of context of why Brent has asked me to host the 1% Club today and ensure that we're delivering value every week to you guys. Actually, I met Brent about 25 years ago in Sacramento Metro because I tried to recruit him from Remax. At that time, he was the #1 Remax agent in the state of California. I was not successful in recruiting him, but one of the folks that took over my office after I built KW in Roseville did in fact recruit him, and then he became the team leader of that office as well. And that office actually became the most profitable Keller Williams in the country. But I guess my claim to fame, so to speak, was that in that Keller Williams office, which I launched in 2000, we took it from 10 to 184 agents in 27 months. It did go on to become the most profitable Keller Williams in the country at one point. And I guess I'm the only person in Keller Williams history to have successfully built 10 of their franchises from the ground up. And CC, two of them were down in your neighborhood. Those two that I was mentioning, Cupertino and Palo Alto. And then I did one north of you guys in Santa Rosa, as well as the Sacramento metro area. So I've had a lot of attraction recruiting experience actually in two environments. First, the Keller Williams world, and then the EXP world. I can tell you from personal experience that revenue share is 100x profit share, especially in the environment that we're in right now. It's funny, when I joined EXP about 6 years ago, it was only about a 10x difference. It was revenue share was 10 times better than profit share at that time. And so same amount of people, you'd earn 10 times as much. And that was great. But what's happened is the brokerage environment has become so challenged that the brokerages are not making much money. And because Keller Williams' system is based on profit share, now that difference has gone from 10x to 100x. Same amount of people. And I'm speaking in averages, but I'm also speaking from personal experience. So the opportunity that you guys have and can take advantage of here at EXP is really extraordinary. If you like some of what you hear today, you can also watch a YouTube video. Not last year, but the year before, I did a talk at the Build event in Cabo, which if you haven't planned to go to that, make sure that you do. I believe it's March 11th in 2026 this year. That is my event I absolutely never miss. It is, if you're serious about building an organization, that's the event that you want to go to and you want to have a guest at. So I think if you go to Cabo 2026, Archie, maybe you can look that up, the domain, and put that in the chat for us. But you guys should all be there. So what I wanted to do for you is I wanted to talk to you about attraction, but not just attraction in general. I want to talk to you about how to have a very specific path to build your organization. And Matthew, just to give you some guidance on your vernacular, we don't want to refer to it as a downline, but you want to refer to it as your organization. Okay. And then your upline are your partners, right? And so you seek support from your partners, and then you provide support to your organization, which is a little bit counterintuitive, right? Because even though you're theoretically above them, you're actually serving them, right? Which is the beauty of this model for sure. Okay, so Matthew happens to be 62. He's right at the tail end of the baby boomers, as am I. Actually, I'm 61. I'm right behind you, Matthew. And here's some interesting stats that you might want to write down. 34% of the agents in the US today are 60 years or older. 25% are 65 or older. Now, can you guys guess? I want somebody to come off mute, but can you guys guess what 100% of those people have in common right now? Remember, they're 60 in their 60s. So what do they think?
I would say they're part-time. Is that the answer you're looking for? They're part-time
No.
agents? Nope. Okay.
Now, by the way, those baby boomers, us baby boomers, are doing over 60% of the business right now. So some of them are absolutely drilling it, even in this market. I have an organization of about 1,000 people in EXP over 40 states and have a dozen countries now. And I've got several baby boomers that are multi-year icons and just crush it. But even those people, one thing they all have in common is they all would like to have an exit. They would all like to retire one day, sooner versus later, by the way, with some dignity. And
in progress.
yeah, we've got, who's that speaking there? Let's see, was that Kathy? Did you want to make a comment?
No, we're just on the phone.
Okay, just put yourself on mute if you would, please. Okay, all right. So what all these baby boomers have in common is they want to be able to retire. And put in the chat, by the way, or actually, I don't know if they enable chat on this particular one, but I'm guessing somebody can speak up if I'm not correct in this, but you haven't attended too many real estate retirement parties. Is that a fair statement? Okay. Well, of course, you guys, I'm sure know Brent doesn't sell and has not been for several years. I also am not selling. And I would say the vast majority of the top 200 revenue share earners in the country either don't sell or have teams that are mostly doing the selling for them, right? So they're in kind of this semi-retirement mode as far as their real estate practice is concerned. But the reason why I want to bring this phenomena to your awareness is because there's a lot of them. There's literally 10,000 baby boomers retiring in the US every day. And they don't have a viable exit, and it could become a really powerful recruiting strategy for you. So if you're going to do this, there's a couple things you're going to want to do to prepare. And what I have found is when I am looking for somebody that wants to sell their business, what I actually want to start with is a buyer. So what I do is I go into a market where I want to attract an icon level producer, right? And somebody that is doing 30 plus transactions a year in most parts of the country, or 500,000 gross commission income. And I get myself somebody that wants to acquire a book of business. And that's not difficult to do. In today's environment, you're still able to buy a real estate book of business mostly by referral. Now, in the good old days, the way it used to work is your friend would retire, and then when someone would call them, they would simply just ring you up and say, hey, I've got somebody that reached out to me that wants to sell their home or buy a home. Would you like to help them? And you'd pay a referral fee to that agent. And that provided a very sporadic and minimal income to that retiring agent. Then what happened was a guy named Nick Crowder authored a book called The Golden Handoff. You might want to pick that up. In his new edition, I'm actually featured in it, I think on page 141 or something. And that's because I helped a couple buy and sell a book of business, actually in the Sacramento metro area, not too far from CC. And that book of business went for $500,000, by the way. And what I realized in that process was there was actually a tremendous demand for this, that if we could provide a viable means for people to retire, they would be interested in that. And they may be willing to actually join us first as a recruit. Because what I've learned in helping a number of different parties buy and sell these books of business is that this is not the type of transaction where you just turn over your database and somebody writes you a check. What happens is that you want to assimilate your business in a partnership with your acquiring party. And so when you have, like, let's say that Matthew has an agent in Ventura that he is a strong agent. Ideally, you want somebody that is doing about $250,000 in GCI right now and would like to double it. Okay. And I'll explain why that number is important in a minute. But what you want and you need to realize is that when you are enabling a buyer and a seller to come together for a book of business, it's like a listing appointment, but it's not one listing appointment. It's like you're going for 24 listing appointments. And you need to understand that once somebody makes the conscious decision to sell their book of business, they're going to look at you or look at your agent that you're helping to acquire the book of business like they would an agent that they would consider listing a home with. And if they're going to be getting paid by referral, well, they want to align themselves with the agent that's going to get them the most referrals. And I said a moment ago that you want somebody that is already doing about $250,000 ideally, and doing it in a relationship-based way, so mostly by referral, so they don't have high marketing costs. And the reason why is because, remember when I said that I helped two parties buy and sell a book of business for $500,000? So I want you to notice, and what's different from the golden handoff is we named a number. And it was interesting because these guys were struggling to come together on their deal, but once we named a number, they both wanted that. And it's, I guess, because, I mean, as a seller, they wanted the certainty of knowing they would eventually get 500,000. But as the buyer, they wanted to have a target to where, hey, once I pay this off, I own the business. Well, that book of business, by the way, got paid off in 18 months. It literally about 2 years, 2.5 years ahead of what I consider a normal schedule. And so, but what we affected in that transaction, and what I would encourage you guys to do, is have the seller of the book of business actually join you or your buyer in a team, which, by the way, means that you just attracted them, assuming that they're not at EXP today. And because, especially where Cece and Matthew are in California, everybody knows a realtor, okay? So if somebody chooses to retire from the business and they announce it to their sphere that they're retiring, they aren't necessarily going to go to the person that Matthew recommends. They know 5 or 6 other realtors. They're just going to go to number 2 on the list, okay? And so what you have to do when you're selling your book of business is you actually want to team up with somebody for what is normally about a 2-year transition. And so what I tell people is, let's say that somebody's doing about $300,000 a year in gross commission income, working 40 to 60 hours a week. I suggest to them that the seller team up with the buyer. Of course, that's either you or an EXP agent that you're helping to recruit to. And now that we have co-sponsorship, my goodness, this is a tremendous opportunity for you, because no matter what market that you want to pursue for this strategy, you can find a co-sponsor in that market, right? So what you guys agree to is you get yourself a buyer. Let's say that Matthew is working again with somebody. I would start local, let's say in Ventura. And the question now becomes, who am I looking for as a seller? So, and Matthew, why don't you come off mute again? I have the impression you're not doing a lot of selling yourself. Am I correct in that?
I was, and then I have a 27-year-old son who's a partner with me. So I'm
Yeah.
having him do most of the real estate now, and then I'm gonna just try to focus on attraction. But I was closing, we were closing about 20 a year. And then I was
Okay.
closing about 50 a year in Arizona, but I moved back to California 6 years ago, and I never really like marketed myself to really get a lot of business. But yeah, no.
Well, by the way, for those that don't know the values, depending on where you came in Arizona, 20 a year in Ventura could be about as much money as 50
Yeah.
a year in Arizona. So, okay, so where I'm going with that is you've had a legitimate business. I mean, you've in other words, you can talk the
Oh, yeah.
talk with these top producers, right? And now you have an extra incentive because you want to help build up your son's business, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you have a pretty enviable situation, because what I would do is I would actually present myself as a partner with your son as the buyer in your own market. Why not start there? Because I don't know how much business he's doing now, but let's just say he's doing 12 deals a year. Then do you see how if he goes out and acquires another $250,000 in business, all of a sudden he has a business like you had at your peak. Okay. And so I told you guys you want to have a business, the buyer, that is already doing well, mostly by referral. And the book of business that you want to buy, you want to make sure is also being produced mostly by referral. Nobody wants to buy a business where you buy the right to then prospect or spend money on advertising. Okay. And so when I'm helping people to value a business, and by the way, if you want to write down my contact information, Archie, if you would put my contact information so I can just keep going in the chat. I think you've got my phone number, 503-812-2631, and my email is dawn@proinsight.com. So if you guys get yourself a candidate that wants to sell their book of business, remember, you're going to name a number. And roughly, I do actually have a calculator for this purpose, but roughly you're going to value their business at 1 times warm gross commission annualized income. So they might be doing 350,000 a year. 250,000 of it might be warm market by referral. By the way, according to NAR, 82% of the business in the US is done that way. Okay, so usually not very hard to find somebody that has that type of business. And that's the number you're going to pay. So let's just say that this particular realtor has gross commission income 350, but 250 of it is warm. Well, 250 would be the number that you would name as what you're going to pay for. And you're going to pay off 25% of their gross commission income and 25% of your and your son's gross commission income. So you're paying 25% of the warm GCI of the seller and the buyer. Okay. You cannot afford to buy their lead-based business, because if you're paying Zillow 40% and then paying the seller 25% and then paying EXP 20%, do you see how there's no money left for you? Okay. All right. So again, valuation is roughly 1 times annualized warm GCI, and you're going to pay 25% of their and your warm GCI. So as you can see, this strategy has almost no risk in it. Who doesn't want to be a buyer? So that's why I'm saying right now, Matthew, you and your son could be a buyer, but you could actually pretty easily find a buyer in any market. Now, if it's me, what I would do is I would start building buyer relationships with people that were in referral markets to me. So in Matthew's case, a referral market might be LA. Somebody moves from LA to Ventura, for example. And by the way, if you guys go to Google and you ask it, what are the top 20 referral markets to my market? It will give you the list, right? And so that's where I would build relationships, because I'm looking for a couple things. Remember, I'm looking for an agent that is already doing about $250,000, doing it mostly by referral. Of course, in Matthew's case, does not already have a referral partner in Ventura, because I want to have that kind of relationship with them, right? And of course, just to be coming from a place of integrity, you can't have a referral partner already in his market or her market also, right? And then I want to confirm that they would want to buy a book of business, right? Okay, once we have those elements in place, now we want to identify our ideal customer. The ideal customer in this case that we want to buy is somebody, in my opinion, that's doing 18 to 48 transactions a year. So an icon level producer. One of the reasons why I like attracting icon level producers to EXP is because they basically get to work for free. You know, if we were a law firm, this is a phrase you want to probably write down and use. If we were a law firm, at icon level, you're basically made partner, right? You're getting to broker your transactions for essentially $5,000 in transaction fees. And you become a material stockholder in the company, right? And so the reason also why I like going after icons is because there's a lot of agents that can do well and prosper at EXP, but there is absolutely nowhere they can go as an icon and have as good a situation as they can at EXP, both as an agent and stockholder, as well as an opportunity to have revenue share. Okay. Now, a really great data source for recruitment is Courted.io. So Archie, maybe you can put that in the chat as well, Courted.io. Okay, and they can tell you the agents in your market or in the market that you're targeting that do whatever level of production you want. I've suggested your ideal target should be somebody doing 18 to 48 transactions a year. It will also tell you how long they've been in the business. Now, my suggestion is that you get somebody that's been in the business at least 10 years. And why is that? It's because I want to buy a listing-based business. What happens in real estate is that in the first 3 to 5 years, it primarily is a buyer-based business, right? Because you don't have any people you've put into homes, but ultimately your buyers become your sellers if you stay in the business long enough. And so what I find is that in the beginning, it's usually at least a 70-30 buyer orientation. At 3 to 5 years, it becomes about a 50-50 proposition. And at 10 years, it's about a 70-30, 80-20 listing proposition. And especially for those of us that are time challenged, listings are a lot better way to go. So that's the kind of business that I want to buy. The next parameter that I'm going to look for in Courted is I'm looking for somebody 60 plus years old, somebody that is in Matthew, in my group, the baby boomers, right? So think about this, you guys. They've been making over $250,000. They're over 60 and they have more than 10 years experience. It's the perfect business. What a fantastic recruit for you to also get into your organization. And after Matthew does it for his son in Ventura, he can then do it in the top 20 cities that are relocation markets to Ventura, right? And just pick them off one at a time. First, get your buyer, which, by the way, that person will become your co-sponsor with the book of business. You're going to be the sponsor if you find the seller, and your buyer will be the co-sponsor. Now, remember, you can't co-sponsor with somebody that's in your own organization, right? If they were in your own organization, you would just put them under who's ever on the bottom, so you would both be benefactors, okay? Now, to start your campaign, and we're going to be wrapping up here in about 10 minutes, I just want to give you guys a few tips on how to roll this strategy out. So now I've got my buyer, I have my data set. I want you to build a data set in that market of at least 250 qualified sellers, okay? I'm going to suggest to you that you mail them good old-fashioned snail mail, personally hand-addressed letters with a live stamp, not metered, with a personalized letter that you sign with a thick blue pen, okay? And it will take a minute to put this together, and it will cost close to $1 a piece, because I'm suggesting you send it first class. But you send 250 letters into that market, okay? If you're sophisticated in terms of Facebook and Instagram, LinkedIn, you might also take that same list, create a custom list, and then drop your message about looking for for a retiring agent in that market into their news feed. So do it as a sponsored ad. It's really economical, actually. And then finally, if you're serious about doing attraction, then you need to time block yourself time to do it. And my recommendation is 5 hours a week. So take 1 hour a day, 5 days a week. My suggestion is Tuesday through Saturday. So Monday is pretty stressful for agents. And so just give them the piece to put their deals together. Start on Tuesday. Usually the best thing to do is to have it be in the morning, certainly before noon. And I find during the week, you can call anytime between 9 and 11. And on the weekend, I recommend calling between 9 and 10 a.m. Okay. And that's before the agent has gotten off into doing whatever they're, showing property or whatever. That's prime time. So for calling, though, I avoid Monday mornings, and I avoid Friday afternoons, and I don't call on Sunday. Okay. Now, how many of us go to the gym? Any gym goers? Looks like Matthew, at least. I see your hand go up. Okay. Would you say that you're more likely to go to the gym if you got a buddy that's going to meet you there? Okay. Same deal here. Once you make the commitment to do this, I recommend that you get one of your referral partners in one of your top 20 referral markets to jump on Zoom with you every day, 5 days a week. So you guys you have a set booked appointment and you meet, and the more the merrier, right? I'm suggesting you do this. You build at least 20 relocation referral partners in your top markets. Be great to invite all 20 of them, right? And put some teeth in your deal. If you're committed to this, then have the consequence of not coming be $100. You guys could choose a charity that you want to support. And if somebody doesn't show, they got to pony up into the account, and it becomes a donation into a charity that you guys have mutually agreed upon. So again, what isn't in the calendar, in my opinion, does not exist. Okay. This cannot be, I'm going to do it when I have time. It has to be an intentional plan and a very specific strategy. Now, today, what I've done is I've shared a strategy for you guys that specifically applied to selling a book of business or buying a book of business and using that as a recruiting mechanism. And remember, even though the person is selling their business, they're joining you at EXP first, or they're joining the person that you are recruiting to 2 years ahead, because if they've been doing business by relationship, it takes time to transfer those relationships. So when I'm coaching and consulting someone and buying a book of business, I require the buyer to put on 4 events a year. Usually it's 2 client appreciation events and 2 educational events. Of the educational ones, I recommend one of them be on Zoom so that you can get the people that were customers and they've now moved out of the market, or they own rental property and they just live outside of the market. You've got a lot of those in California, as you know. Carolyn, I saw your camera just come on. Did you have a question or comment? Go, you're on mute though.
You've been fantastic. I don't know how to blur my background yet.
Oh, okay. No problem. Great to see you. What is your
I'm going to contact you. I'm on the
Awesome.
commercial side. I'm really like in this wonderful opportunity to I had to move to the referral division because I can't afford my $500, but buying and selling businesses is my thing. So I'm going to contact you.
Yeah.
Hey,
by the way, I may be not 100% correct on this, but if you are in the commercial division to buy and sell businesses, okay, like I'm doing now, I believe if you do not have the CoStar subscription, you can do it for $250, not $500.
you're so smart. I'm a boomer, but I feel like I look 45. I look great. I don't want to be a boomer, but I'm barely a boomer. I'm right in that niche, and so it's exciting to me because I'm anyway. I will follow up with you. You're totally right about that. You nailed it. But I'm on food assistance right now. It's the lowest you can be, and I know my future's brighter than I can even imagine. And I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Yes, Brent. I'm an honorary member of this.
I love it. I love it. That's great.
Nice to meet you.
Gabrielle, I saw your camera just come on. What's your goal?
Oh, my goals are to produce more for myself, and then, of course, agent attraction. Right now, I've been talking to builders in my areas. I've been having some success. I have one builder coming on at the end of the month to my organization. So that's what I'm working on.
When you say builder, are you talking about people that want to build sales organizations, not a builder of homes?
No, a builder of homes.
Oh, builder of homes. Oh, okay. Fantastic. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, that'd be great. Yeah, well, your timing is good because I believe at 10 minutes after the hour, this switches from attraction to sales. So we're going to do a quick 15-minute segment sales. So I'm going to show you how to boost your sales in a pretty dynamic way. In addition to having some success in recruiting, my first full year in the business of selling real estate, which was a minute ago, I closed 51 deals. So I'm going to give you guys some great stuff in that department as well. But in the last moment or two with the attraction group, does anybody have a question or comment that they would like to share or add before we move on to the sales conversation? And who else do we have in here? Latrice, am I saying that correct? You're on mute, looks like.
You are. Well, it's Leatrice, but you can call me LJ.
LJ, okay, Leatrice, or LJ. Where are you located?
I am in Oro Grande, California. So it's right outside of Victorville, California.
Hey, I know Arroyo Grande. I used to live in San Luis Obispo.
What? I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what's your goal?
Let's see. My goal in the next, how much time? How much time? I have so many.
Well, you tell me the goal. I'm going to tell you how much time you're going to need to get there.
Okay, so my short-term goal, I have 3 land parcels
Okay.
listed that I
Yeah.
want to get out of my hair
Yeah.
before Christmas.
Okay. Now, I get it. So I see your headline, dirt to disposition. So do you develop land? Is that kind of your niche?
I'm under the PDF group of companies with Paul Frank,
Yes.
and Paul is the developer, so I'm learning under him.
Oh, well, I love Paul, and I'm actually joining his team as well. So we'll be buddies.
Hey, teammates.
Yeah, exactly. He's a fantastic resource in our company and has helped a lot of people. So yeah, it'll be great to connect with you. Okay. Well, I guess the closing thought I'm going to leave with you guys on attraction is this. First, you need a goal. Second, you're going to need a plan to get to that goal. Archie put my contact information in. If anybody will put their goal in writing and put their plan in writing, then you can reach out to me and I will go over it and I will let you know if your goal is reasonable, legit, and what we might do to tune it up just a little bit to increase your odds of success. Okay, no cost. But don't be reaching out to me until you have your goal in writing and you have written a plan for its achievement. I can work with that, right? We'll tune it up. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but you have to have done that. Okay.
Is the goal, I'm sorry, is the goal supposed to be a number or
Yeah.
like she mentioned a properties. I'm looking at your recruiting versus doing
Yes.
deals.
Yes.
So there's 2 different ones, right?
Yeah.
You work with either one?
And for LJ, it's perfectly fine for her to have that goal of developing those 3 properties by year end. That's more of a sales goal, which is where we're going with our conversation here momentarily. But yes, for attraction, for example, one of the goals that I had set and did achieve was I wanted to get to 500 people in my organization within 3 years. Right. And so then I developed a certain set of activity with which to do that. Okay, now I'm resetting my goal and I'm going for 2,000 agents. And I want to do frontline recruiting next year of 24 icon level producers. Okay, so in order to do that, I'm going to have a very specific plan and strategy.